Yes. Ah, can you hear me now, Jack? Right, cool. Oh, you've gone robotic-y again.
Yeah, I can see. Pick it up there.
All right, so it should come back in a minute.
And I'm going to read Discord.
Okay, I think I understood what you said there. You're going to restart Discord. Okay. All right, so can we continue? No, we can't continue. New game. Main story. Void Shadows on scenario. Difficulty's normal. Alright, so take up the mantle of a rogue trader, the section of an ancient dynasty of daring privateers that reign over the trade. What's that? Whatever. And explore the fringes of the known galaxy. Darkness looms over the bloodline of Von Valencius.
Von Valencius.
Valencius, thank you. As it faces multiple threats from within its own ranks and without as countless enemies seek to destroy the most daring and brave agents of humanity. Right. Okay, it's up to you to hold the reins of the shattered procreators. There we go. Procreate and forge a new path for the Von Valencius dynasty, currently finding itself in a vortex of wars, intrigues, calamities, and hearsay. Dude, I need to start reading again. The stakes are high, and rise even higher as you cross paths with terrifying, powerful, and ambitious adversaries in the darkness of the Kronos expanse.
Yeah, well, this game is going to be a fair amount of reading, so I'll get your words in.
Right, so custom character, or I can go for Hector, Darius, or Bahud.
I don't believe there's any special things about the preset characters. They're just preset characters. So it's probably best if you share your screen if you're going to do a custom one.
Right.
Because I can kind of advise you what's what. I mean, it's very comprehensive in pretty much anything that has a description. You can hover over and it will tell you what it is.
Okay. Right, so we go custom character.
Come on, Discord. Give me the stream. Don't just give me the rotating squares.
I hate that. Right, so I'm just busy looking at...
There we go. Yeah, those are portraits. No impact on the actual gameplay, but obviously it's what you'll be seeing for your character a lot of the time on the HUD.
It reminds me so much of... what's it called? Neverwinter's Night.
It's effectively that. It's just not as... It's not like real... Well, it is real time, but with Neverwinter's there was real time, and then real time with pause. So you could make it rounds, turn-based. So this obviously run around in the open world in real time.
Right.
And then when it gets into combat, it's turn-based.
Right. Appearance.
That's male or female. And then body is usually skinny, fat, muscle, normally. The faces are different faces. To be honest, with most groups, it always kind of goes through the different ethnicities. So you'll have white European, and then there'll be Chinese, and then there'll be black or people of color or different,
Go with that. You know what? I'm actually not too fussed about. I definitely don't want to be
silly
bored.
hairstyles on it.
Yeah, like that.
Yeah. And go for Victorian pomp. I think you can swing the character around as well if you drag and click to. You can get better angles.
I like that, to be honest with you.
Cool.
Actually, there.
Going for the jarhead.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's more like the what's it called? The old Action Man look.
Mm.
Yeah. Actually, I'm gonna do that.
Little mohawk.
Yep.
Tattoos. If you care about them.
I'm not too
Pretty
fussed
much.
about them.
One per arm, per leg, face. You get different scars if you want different scars. All options don't currently have any mechanical difference. There's,
You've gone robotic-y again. I like that. Yeah. Kind of like that.
Voice listen to them because you'll hear it.
Right. Again, dude, very robotic-y.
Don't know why.
There we go. You're back.
Swing back as well. Okay. Yeah, voice you'll probably want to do pick because you'll hear it a fair amount when you're walking around because you interact with something. Your character will say something.
I'll bring glory to my bloodline. For the Emperor, we have purified the fit for the fond philanthropist. A new challenge for me. I'll see you terminated.
This could be an opportune time to reap the spoils of... I don't need luck. I'll make it happen.
Blood and me. Unleash the storm. Ruinous favor whispers. Guide my hand.
Curious descend. Time for a round of space regicide. The destination is known. Applaud my
Empyrean. Your existence is naught but ashes. Through chaos, I stride.
Deliver their look upon the Emperor's face. Stay faithful. Excellent matter. You didn't stand a chance. Something of interest.
I'm going to go with that. What's the daring?
Perfect. Didn't see that one coming. Looks like we have a problem on our fire at will. Done and done.
Right, just go bold
For
male.
the glory of the dynasty.
Right. Still like your background.
Oh,
This can have an impact on ideas.
right.
Oh, you know, or just from what you pipe in about that's what it means.
Dude, again, I can barely make out what you're saying.
Anything else?
I'm just trying to think, is there another app we could use for voice?
Because Skype's dead. Gone yet? Or
Hold on, I didn't... Hold on.
it's on my end.
Right, you've come back again. So what were you saying about this?
What I'm saying is, well, I said is Skype dead yet? So this is your background world. So it has basically a bit of fluff, a feature, characteristic modifiers, and talents. So a feature, if you hover over that one, for example, never stop shooting. So every time you kill something, you get plus 10 stacks of never stop shooting. At the start of your turn, there is a chance, so that stacks of never stop shooting percentage, chance that the first attack of this round will cost 0 action points and doesn't count towards your attacks per round.
Right.
So basically, every time you kill something, you get 10. So that is then 10% chance. So you kill another thing, 20% chance, until you actually trigger it, and then all of them are used. So it's good for combat characters a lot more, because it means, you know, there's a chance you get a free attack in that round. But obviously you've got to be killing things.
Yeah.
It also gives you perception, willpower, and a negative to fellowship.
Yeah. And then obviously you got...
talents. They're like feats and traits in Pathfinder. So they will give you generally bonuses, or they're something you use to then get to another feat that's going to be even better.
Right.
So for example, that says never stop believing. When all of the stacks of never stop shooting should be lost, they become willpower divided by 3 instead. Additionally, you can upgrade your willpower even if your class doesn't allow it.
Right. Because that there gives you +5 willpower straight off the bat. Right.
Yeah. So death worlds are usually fairly difficult to kill combat characters.
Okay.
Because I think, like, actually the funny thing is, like, the most commonly known death world in Warhammer is Ketchikan. It's basically Arnold Schwarzenegger, Predator everywhere. All of them are like that. Ridiculously ripped, wearing bandanas, combat fatigues, in the jungle where, like, even the plants will eat you.
Okay.
But it's an entire planet full of Predator.
Yeah,
So whenever they go anywhere else, they're like, oh, this is a fucking picnic walk in comparison to home.
Yeah, I mean, you got 3 +5s and 2 -5s.
Yeah, so good strength, good toughness, good agility, but they ain't smart and they ain't sociable.
Yeah.
And as you can see, their things are more about taking damage and dealing damage.
Okay, Voidborn.
A lot about luck. So they're people who are actually literally just born in space. Never been on planets most of the time. Or haven't been off ships a lot.
Hence the minus on strength.
Yes. But a lot of their stuff is based around luck or percentage chance, which can come in handy. Hive Worlds is literally just, they are rammed with billions upon trillions of people. So a lot of their stuff is based around
Numbers.
being a lot of them,
Yeah.
and helping other things out. Forge Worlds, they're tough and smart because they're like the crafting worlds. It's where a lot of the tech priests and stuff come from,
Right.
or operate. So a lot of their things, again, they're pretty tough to kill, but they also integrate with weapons and hacking and stuff like that.
Right, got you. And then you got
Imperials, humanity's finest. I'm pretty sure that is that the one that you bonus start or
right.
different classes? Oh, no, you restrict bonus. Okay. Because obviously, in war, first species of isms would be a very real thing.
Okay.
Pretty much the entirety of mankind's religion is based around the ancient human be dead. Again, with the too much out on what culture rank. So if you just skip ahead one.
Okay. Again, you broke up there quite badly.
Right.
Oh, why is the game not... Hold on. Oh, it is. Okay, cool. Sorry, Jack, what did...
Are you using?
Beg your pardon?
Do you want to try using?
Skype. Yes, could try use Skype. Okay, right. I don't even know if Skype's actually going to work, to be honest with you. Where is it's there? So minimize you. Right. Right, hopefully this is going to be better. Right, now what I've got to quickly do is... Okay, hold on. I've now got to do a little bit of a jumble. So we add capture audio, yes. Spotify, I'm looking for Skype. Okay. Right. Jack, can you say something, please?
Something, please.
Cool, excellent, got it. Right, so that's that done. Now, grab Skype, get in there, whack, share. Can I still share screen here? Huh. I think they've taken that away. Create a new group.
If not, then just have to put up with Discord.
Um,
I'm Googling things about Discord becoming robotic in the meantime. Because my connection to everything else is perfectly fine.
yes.
It's just seemingly swinging wildly on Discord.
Yeah, because I was going to say, we can use Teams, I guess.
Does Teams let you show your screen? Does it capture?
Either that or Zoom. That is so weird. Location, voice message, sorry, video message, schedule a call, create a poll, video call, create a new group, gallery. That is so bizarre. Unless since they've stopped supporting it. That's the only thing. Anyway, unless you can just check out on the stream, I guess.
It's going to be delayed, isn't it? But, yeah.
For the interim, because apparently...
Okay, look in there. Right, do that. Do that. Do that. Do that while I remember.
Okay, wait, hold on. What did I just do there? I want started call. I want to go back to the original call page. Find gallery. Huh. Yep, nope. They've actually taken it away.
Oh.
Chat settings. Yep, nope. Right, anyway. So, what I was thinking, have you actually forced closed Discord and restarted it?
Yeah. Check for updates.
I think I'm actually going to go with a Forge World.
Okay. Well, again, it may change depending on what type of class you want to play.
Or maybe the Fortress World.
Again, what I'd say is because at the moment it's going to be Homeworld, and then Origin, I believe, is your class. Triumph is something cool that happened. Darkest Hour is something bad that actually Archetype's class. But when we get further on, it may be that you want to come back and look at different things depending on what type of class you want to play, or Archetype.
Okay, I'll leave it as Deathworld for now then. Right, so this is the Origin.
Yep, so Origin. So this gets you, again, a feature, which is like a class thing, like a skill you can use, as well as some pluses to types of play, as it were. Again, working on a bit of stream delay. So Military Commander is about ordering other people to do stuff and shooting stuff mainly. So obviously he commands the guard. So as you can see, he's got ballistic skill, perception, athletics, Medicae, good at perception, and Medicae again. It's always good.
Yeah.
Let's use healing packs. Then again, talents you can see.
Yeah, you got suppression fire, timely rescue, shoulder to shoulder, field on fire, and unflinching heroism. Commissar.
Yeah.
Fellowship. Right. So they're more of a command weapon.
Yeah, Commissars also do the shooty and the commandy, but they're more like commandy through fear.
Yeah.
It's literally the Red Army, not one step backwards. They will kill you if you don't do what they say or you do something wrong.
Yeah.
To maintain morale. Crime Lord, think you're roguey character.
Yeah. I kind of like the outfit though.
It is a pimpin' outfit. Like that's a big ass collar.
Yeah. Perception, awareness, killing plan, disorientate. Okay. That does not look pretty at all.
As a priest, the ecclesiarchy. Again, usually about fairly being strong and willpower.
Yeah. Navy officer. Brace for impact. Fellowship. Commerce. Okay. Demolitions. Okay. Do not falter. Perfect timing. Get to cover. Alright. Noble. I like that as well.
Noble is an interesting one because I think all of their talents are based around designating someone as their servant.
Oh, really?
Like, you protect me. You kill that. You go there. You do this.
You do something.
Yeah.
You go on. You go next.
There's a lot of things that give buffs to that servant or help the servant help you. Psychers, wizards, spellcasters, psychics. They have some really powerful stuff and some really awesome stuff, but it's sort of similar to like wild magic for sorcerers.
Right.
As you're using your skills, it's building a bar, and if the bar gets too high, bad stuff happens. Or randomly when you're using a skill, something bad could happen. But they are incredibly powerful.
I want to take the crime rule just for the outfit. I'm going to do it.
Okay. So that's your origin.
Triumph, Apex of Brilliance.
Triumph. Again, they give you a bonus. These ones are just bonuses. So it's kind of a story thing. So yeah, effectively, you manage to corrupt an entire star system. Bloody Shadow War against the Void Pirates. Void Pirates just being space pirates.
Okay.
So again, it depends on what you're thinking you want your skills to be. So logic, is intelligence, or Imperium. Again, will pass certain checks.
Right. So if we're gonna do this, let's do this properly. Right. So Death World. Now that is combat.
It's a fair amount of being tough to kill and hurting things.
+5, +5, +5 for that is
strength, toughness, and agility.
Tough.
So basically, strength, con, and dex.
AG. Int and fellow both -5s. Okay. What's its main survival instinct? Once per combat, when the wounds of death rolled character drop below 30%, they gain 20% to maximum wound and temporary wounds. Characters also gain 20% bonus to dodge and armor while they're at least one temporary wound from... Okay.
So yeah, basically, so wounds is health.
Yeah.
Maximum wounds is your max health. Temporary health is literally just temporary health that you get from buffs. That's obviously crit chance against things that bleed.
Oh, what, the brutal hunter? Yep. Okay.
Yeah. So the wounded beast, there is an injury system. I think one of the didn't one of the Dragon Ages have an injury system? I think.
I vaguely remember something. You're thinking of the Blood Mage.
Yeah. Well, basically, in combat, if you die, if you're not playing on like hardcore, when the combat finishes, you get an injury. You can use medical stuff to get rid of it, but if it's left, it becomes an actual injury where it'll be like, you know, -5 to dex, -10 to shooting.
Right.
And you've got to go back to your ship and get them on. So with that one, the more injuries you have, obviously the more dangerous you become in those certain aspects.
Okay, so Crime Lord gives you weapon skill +5, percep +5, aware +5, and logic +5. Okay. And that gives you start of combat gains inish bonus. Okay.
Yes, that's an int bonus.
Yeah. Right. Perception, another +5 for perception. Awareness +10. Alright, killing plan, what does that actually do?
So that works off the actual feature, the surefire plan. So it makes it do more damage based on 2 times your... Oh, come on.
Sorry.
Your WS, which is weapon skill.
Yeah, which I get a +5 to from this class.
Ah, there's ballistic skill and weapon. Sorry, weapon skill and I think ballistic skill. Yeah, so weapon skill is melee. Ballistic skill is guns.
Okay. Disorientating plan.
So, yep, they take penalties to dodge and parry, or parry, based on 10 + 2 times your perception bonus, %.
Which my perception at the moment is it's got 2 +5s.
Yeah. So again, having a higher perception there helps. So once per combat, if you have at least 1 stack of Surefire Fan, you don't die when you get killed. Instead, you heal for 5 times the Surefire Plan stack percentage of maximum wounds. But that's the issue. Once it happens, it stops you dying, gives you health based on how many stacks you had, but then you lose all the stacks and you can't gain them again until next combat.
Right, okay, fair enough.
Escape plan, bonus to dodge and parry from Surefire Plan is increased by 2 times your agility bonus %. And then dodging at least once restores a stack.
Right.
And then, yeah, at the start of your next turn, if you have no stacks, you gain a stack. So for that specific feature, it gets you stacks.
Yeah.
They can then be consumed to make things stronger or do things for you.
Right. And then we got illustrious. No, wait, hold on. That one gives you, so the other 2 give you plus logic, 5. Now this gives you law Imperium.
So again, when you're going through the game, it may be that, you know, you're having a conversation with the character about something, and if you don't have a high enough Imperium skill, you won't know what they're talking about, or you say something wrong. So it's a skill check, basically.
And what does
so
logic
relevant
give
skill
you?
Could be for the Imperium. It's like knowledge nature. This is knowledge Imperium. Logic is intelligence based. As it says, it's about making rational arguments more convincing, or noticing that people aren't being logical or they have inconsistencies. Also helpful for making certain things.
Right, because at the moment I've only got a +5, but I've got nothing to Imperium.
Again, some of these things may be offset by your NPC companions or my character when we get to mine.
Alright, so that's Illustrious. Illustrious Glory. Right, +5. Law. No, you're doing that wrong.
Law about imps.
Law. Imperium. +5k. Right, next. Now, that's Persuasion -5.
Yes, so Darkest Hours, these are all negatives.
Yep, and then we've got Karos.
Carouse. It's like your ability to resist things like poisons, drugs, alcohol. It's a toughness check.
Right, and then obviously you got Brand of Shame, which is you turned your partners into the authorities and became known as a traitor. Commerce -5.
Yeah.
And
Inauspicious.
thank you. Deal with the wrong people, resulting in the rise of Chaos Cult and the horrific massacre of innocents.
Basically, deal went bad. Evilness took over.
I've already got a -5 in Fellowship.
And this is a Fellowship characteristic, but specifically Persuasion. So that's your ability to manipulate other
Yeah,
things.
so that means I'd have a -10 to it.
Well, specifically if you're persuading or trying to persuade.
I think I'll go with that one.
Or the negative to carouse.
Yeah.
Cool. Right. So, archetypes. These are your classes. So you get basically base classes, prestige classes, and then the exemplar at the end is just superpowered upgrade.
Okay.
So, warriors, great at melee and withstanding damage, and they can also tank because they can draw aggro, or they can make it harder for enemies to hit allies.
Yeah.
Again, if you're looking at their things, they get charge. So normally you can run up to something using movement points and then attack it with action points. Charge lets you move and hit them.
Right.
In a straight line. And it doesn't count towards your limit of attacks per round. So you could charge in, hit him, and then hit him again with a normal attack. Whereas if you're just normally moving up and attacking, that's one move, one attack. Charge lets you move, attack, and then attack.
Right.
Because normally you only get a certain amount of attacks per turn. Normally one, but as you level up, you start getting a few more.
Gotcha.
It's like Pathfinder. Like you're getting your base hit, and then you get to, 6 or 5.
Anytime your base attack bonus gets to 6, then you get a second attack.
Yeah, and then there are traits and perks and things that can make it so you get extra attacks. So he's got charge, good for getting in there, hitting them. Endure, reduces the damage you're taking, and also gives you some temporary HP. The ultimates, they swing both ways. There's like a momentum bar.
Yep.
So if you're dealing a lot of damage, killing a lot of things, the bar's up, good, you can do an ultimate. That's the top one. You then get desperate measures, which are the lower ones. If your people are dying, if you're taking a lot of damage, if things aren't going your way,
right,
you can do something. You can do an ultimate, but normally you then have a negative.
Right.
So for example, the Daring Breach. So you immediately get all your action points and movement points. You get a bonus to your movement points based off your agility, and you don't lose your movement after attacking. So a lot of things, you can move and attack, but you can't attack and move. Some things that you
But basically, next turn you can't charge, and the MPs are reduced by 3.
Yeah, So the Daring
Movement
Breach
points.
got all the benefits. The Daring Breach Desperate Measures, you're getting the benefits, but the next round you can't charge and you've got less movement. So there is a negative. Again, characteristics, it's just recommending what this class needs. So weapon skill, strength, toughness, agility, skills in things like carouse and athletics. Because obviously you're being a big, tough melee dude.
Yeah.
If you hover over the warrior, like the actual symbol, you see the web that comes from it.
Yeah.
Those are the advanced classes it can take. So you can go from a warrior to an assassin, so you're more talking about damage. Vanguard, more tanky. Arch militants, they're all about ranged weapons and swapping weapons. And executioner, I think, is like dots and DPS.
Okay.
So again, if you're looking at, it's a very difficult thing of, you're trying to plan ahead to make sure you don't completely gimp yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But to do that, you've got to do like 20 more things and look into so much more. But again, if you're not caring that too much about being efficient, you can still get through the game by doing whatever you want. So officers, based on willpower and fellowship, they make their allies better. So they're good at giving people extra turns, giving them buffs, giving them momentum, which builds towards their ultimate. So, for example, Bring It Down. You immediately grant an ally an extra turn with 2 action points, but no benefit to movement.
Right.
If that ally that is under that effect kills an enemy before the end of your next turn, they then get additional momentum based off your fellowship.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. You can't use it on the same ally more than once per round. They get like an exhaust thing, and then after a couple of rounds you can put it back on again.
Alright.
Voice of command. Yeah. So it gives them a buff. So it forces the ally to push through themselves, increasing the characteristics by 10 plus your fellowship bonus for 1 round. Characteristics are your basic skills like weapon, ballistic, strength, toughness, agility, etc. So good buff all round. Additionally, you can do any of your other skills on that person that's got it on them, regardless of range.
Right.
And again, you can't have it on you more than once every 2 rounds.
Alright.
Finest Hour is like a super version of Bring It Down. They get an extra turn, full action, full movement, no attack limit.
Yeah.
Because it could be that you've got, say for example, 4 action points. It costs you 2 to hit something, but normally you've only got 1 attack per round, even though points-wise you could hit twice.
Yeah.
So with that hitting that buff on them, they can then do 2 attacks because they can work out the 4 because it's gotten rid of the cap.
Right.
And then obviously the Desperate Measures version is the same thing.
But,
however, you get negative.
Fellowship is halved.
It's halved, yeah, which will obviously then damage a lot of your other abilities. So they're about fellowship, willpower, and a bit of combat. Operatives. They put a lot of debuffs on things.
Right.
They're good at debuffing, getting through defense, or doing like really strong single hits.
Okay.
So analyze. It lets you target an enemy in your line of sight.
Yep.
They then get a stack of exploit. Exploit, if you hit them, makes you deal more damage based on your perception.
Which is currently plus 10.
And the damage is also increased by 10% for each stack. But when you hit them, the stacks go. So basically, just by being in your line of sight, you can put that on them. Expose weakness works off analyze. So you get rid of all the stacks of exploit. It then decreases their dodge, parry, and armor by the amount of stacks times by your perception.
Okay.
So that one's like, oh, I may not be hitting him, but I can get rid of all his defenses so the warrior can hit him.
Yeah, good for teamwork.
Yeah. Dismantling attack. It immediately puts an exploit on all the enemies in combat. You can then make a free attack against that target, which will always hit. And then that enemy takes minuses to dodge and armor.
Right, and that's at 30%. Okay.
Yeah, 30% penalty to dodge, 30% penalty to armor. So it's really great if there's a big thing in there that you can't, you're not getting through its damage reduction, or it's dodging a lot. That attack will always hit. Bam! It's suddenly much easier to hit. Obviously, the weak version of it.
Oh, until
of
the
your
end of
actions.
combat, offers attacks cost 1 more AP.
Yeah. So if it took you 2 to shoot them before, it now takes you 3.
Yeah, then you've got a second one.
Yeah. So you've got basically main hand, off hand,
Right.
or second. You can have 2 sets of equipment most of the time.
I think the soldier might...
Soldier, all about shooting things.
Yeah. Even though I've got a +5 to weapon skill.
Which is melee.
Yeah.
So they're good about moving around, shooting things in range, being in cover, burst fire, area attacks. They're all about guns. So this is one of my favorite ones. So
Yeah.
run and gun.
Yeah, I've played XCOM, so basically you can move and then shoot. Almost like the charging version.
Basically, yeah, it gives you an agility bonus halved in movement.
Yeah.
Makes your next attack cost 1 less and doesn't count towards your turn limit.
Nice.
So it means you're like, oh, for example, in XCOM, the fucker's behind hard cover. You can pop that, get a little bit of extra movement, flank him, bam, you got an attack.
Yeah.
But until the next turn, you're winded, so you get -10 on your gun, and you can't use run and gun again.
Yeah, it's basically the
But-
cooldown.
Yeah. But what you can do is, then the next one, Revel in Slaughter, after you've killed 3 enemies, you can turn it on.
Yeah.
It doesn't reset between rounds, so you can keep doing it through the combat. It basically negates run and gun because you get your ballistic skill back. You get
Yeah.
some crit and crit chance and crit damage. So it's very useful if, for example, you popped that run and gun, killed the
Yeah.
3rd guy. You can then boom, get it back up. You're now doing even better. Firearm mastery is very good if you've got a high rate of fire weapon.
Yeah.
Because literally it gives you extra attacks equal to your rate of fire, minimum of 2. It also costs less 8p and don't actually cost sometimes, depending on the weapon. So until the end of your next turn, first attack against every enemy, automatically a crit.
Right.
So it's like an alpha strike. As long as you haven't hit them before, first time you hit them, bam, crit. And it automatically reloads your gun.
That's cool.
Yeah. And then the weakened version is
Starting
next
from
round.
Yeah.
You've got less action points.
Yeah.
So this one's all about moving, shooting.
Yeah. And the blade dancers obviously to do with melee.
Yes, they are, but they're a weird one. They're the newest one that came out in the latest.
All right, so don't
So-
touch that one just yet.
They're pretty good. It is about melee. It's about getting into melee, dodging and parrying a lot. So you're a very nimble melee fighter rather than a
Right.
brute strength fighter.
I reckon
They're pretty cool.
I should either go for the soldier or maybe the warrior.
So melee or range, basically. So melee, you are getting some bonuses from your background.
Let's try this.
Mhm.
Let's try this. Okay. Now, how many points have I got to play with? 35.
Yeah. So normally, I don't
30.
believe you can upgrade something more than, I think it's about 3 or 4 times at the start.
Right.
So if you were to I just want to dump into, I think you could put like 10 points in something. Oh yeah, you see the notches next to the name? That's how many points you can
Yeah.
put into it. I'm just going to quickly grab a drink.
Okay. I think that's not bad. Right, so obviously weapon skill is to do with your... I hit you with a whack bonk. That covers these skills, okay. Right, so that's athletics, awareness. Okay, I got -5 for that. Coercion, commerce, that's not too bad. It's affected by the characteristic skill, which I've actually increased a little bit, so that balances out. Demolition, logic. All right. Oh. Okay. I see. Okay, fair enough. Sword class. That is pretty cool. Right, so patient fortune. The sword class freight is right, sweet. Characteristics. I've got weapon skill at 40, ballistic skill at 30, strength at 40, toughness at 40, agility at 40. Intelligence 30, perception 35, willpower 30, and I put my fellowship up to 30.
Okay, cool. Right, so again, just running through them. So weapon skill is obviously melee.
Yep.
But it's also your parry chance, so a chance to reflect attacks, basically.
Yeah.
And reduces their chance to reflect against it.
Yeah.
And also increases your crit chance.
Yeah, and
ranged is basically the same.
Yeah, and I've got a +5 because of being a crime lord and having advanced weapon, origin advancement, weapon skill advancement.
Yeah.
Ballistic skills are flat 30. Strength I've got from original advancement, Death World, and original advancement, strength advancement.
Yep. So strength is damage you do with melee.
Yeah.
5% more with one hand, 10% more with two hands.
Yeah.
It also affects your athletics. So toughness.
Yeah.
As you say, it's good for your health.
Yeah.
Resisting negative things like toxin, poisons, diseases, physical ailments.
And I've got a -5 to that, so it's a 35 for the carousing.
Yeah, that's just specifically for carousing. It doesn't take down your toughness, it just makes carouse worse by 5.
Yeah.
But carouse is influenced by your toughness. Agility is good for technically dealing with explosives. Bad terrain, but it's good for your initiative, your dodge, and if you're in melee, dodge reduction to stop them dodging you, basically.
Yeah, it's half by is equal to half of their agility.
Yeah. So again, useful for you in melee.
Yeah.
Intelligence. It's literally, again, a lot of lore skills are based off intelligence, as well as using tech and using medic stuff. You also deal more damage with, I think, non-burst ranged attacks.
Yeah.
So it helps a little bit with guns. Perception. Basically, throughout the game, there may be effectively perception checks.
Yeah.
Which
basically like in Pathfinder as well, yeah.
Yep. And it also helps reduce their dodge chance.
Right. Willpower, obviously
so
resisting things.
Yeah, resisting the warp, which is the evil most of the time. Bad things. but it's also good for exerting force over certain things, like, as it says, exerting control over a crowd or interrogating a heretic. Also helps you shrug off negative mental things and psychic powers. So it's a willpower check.
Yeah.
Or a
Then
wisdom check.
fellowship.
Fellowship is deceiving or befriending.
Yeah.
Helps you get through a lot of conversations as well, because it helps with persuasion, coercion, and some of the merchant stuff with commerce.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
Right.
voidship.
I can't really do much with that because edit, I think, is just the name.
Yeah, it is the name. I think it's pre-order and extra stuff that got different classes. It just changes their loadout slightly, but the sword class brigade is fine. And then you'll get a final wrap up, which tells you basically everything you've done.
Yeah, this is what I'm looking at right now.
Then you can do your name in the top left if you wanted to. Doesn't really change anything.
I'm happy with that. Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Ignatius.
When you did do the game, did you just do normal?
I believe so, yes.
Cool, right, that's fine.
I wasn't going to go anything stupid because I've never played this game.
It's just, yeah, it changes stuff when you get into the higher difficulties.
All right, so an hour and 5 minutes so far.
Yep. Character creation.
No, not even an hour, but 54 minutes. That's pretty going some. Oh, wait. I've actually not let Damien know. Right. Creating my characters. Oh, press any key. Okay. I forget how technologically different this is.
It is space future.
Hmm.
The church is heavily involved in everything. Literally, spaceships are, for a lot of them, flying cathedrals.
Yeah.
An excellent place for contemplation. One has the best view of the cathedral from here. Mesmerizing, wouldn't you say? An impeccable manifestation of the God Emperor's sublimity.
Okay, right, so you're in a dialogue here. You can learn more about the events, influence the characters you speak, or even to alter the course of the game narrative. Your character's personal story depends on the dialogue choices you make. Okay, fair enough.
So again, as you see in the chat on the left, God Emperor is in orange. That means you can hover over it. It's like a dictionary of terms. So you hover over it and it will tell you something about that.
Yes, the guide route of high with humanity. Okay. Right. Oh, hold on. Issues with Discord. Right, no, Damien said he can jump on his mobile. I'm like, oh yeah. Oh wait, hold on. Yeah, right. So, truly awe-inspiring sight. Frankly, an excess can be tiring at times. All this ostentatious, Jesus Christ. So, all this ostentatious luxury is laughable pretense. It is enough to make one think that the architects mean to compensate rather than glorify. Have we met? Do you have a particular reason for disrupting me? Oh, disturbing me. Disrupting me. Bloody hell. I'm going to go with number 1 because I think this is... Who is he?
He is Conrad Voigt. Butcher the pronunciation of that.
I think most of these guys are into like the whole thing. I'm going to go with number 1.
That is the
Number
purpose
1.
of all temples to the God Emperor, to inspire awe and reverence. For it is the duty of his servants to persevere in their tireless service until they are presented with a chance to give their very life for the master of humanity.
Okay.
Allow me to introduce myself. Conrad Voigtfear, Master of Whispers. In the
Yeah,
employ of
hyperlinked is the thing I
ladyship
said.
rogue trader
Basically,
Theodora
there is an
von
in-game
Valencias.
dictionary and
At your
lexicon
service.
for the terms.
I haven't had the pleasure of speaking with you in person before.
That just explains about rogue traders. It's very, if you think to like the Age of Sail and privateers, you know how they were basically, you've got a letter from the Queen that says you can operate incognito. You can go and sink Spanish ships, but if you ever get caught, you're not English. It was like you can do pretty much anything you want
My regards, Master.
kind of rule.
Or should
Right.
I say,
Rogue
von
traders
Valencias,
can do pretty much
scion of
anything
the
they want,
blessed rogue
including
trader house
Yeah.
in the
fraternizing with
service of the
aliens.
Imperium.
Yeah, you said
doing
so.
stuff that seems a bit
Perhaps
naughty.
this kinship
Um,
came as a shock to you.
They've got that
Understandably so,
power,
given that
but a lot of it
evidence
is all
the
based around
connection was
dynasties. These are
lost
families that have been
in
going
the
for hundreds,
generation
thousands of
separating
years.
you
Right.
and Lord Captain Theodora.
I
It
see.
Yeah,
required
normally
no
if
small
you're caught
effort
talking
on
to
the
an
part
alien,
of a
blam,
ladyship's
you're dead.
servants to
And so is the
discover
alien.
and verify this
And probably
Right.
your family and anyone
which
they
has
knew,
now made you
because they've interacted with you.
one of
So,
the heirs of this dynasty.
Right. I see. Right, so that's fine. Right, so connection to the large generate separating. Do you want to try your Discord again?
yeah, sure.
Cool. Jumping on there now.
About
Where did Skype go?
Sunday, we want streaming. It's connecting.
Right, let me know when you're in it. So Damien, if Damien wants to jump on, he can because he's working on his PC. Right, so my regards.
That seemed to be taking a very long time. There we go. Right, that got me in now.
Right, jumping on now.
Mhm.
Cool. Active now. Wow. Okay. Now, hopefully.
I've muted myself on Skype.
Oh, okay. For some odd reason I can't terminate the call on Skype.
Okay, I'll do it.
There we go.
There we go.
No, my Skype's still showing as still logged in.
Well, the chat's ended, so we're not.
Cool indeed.
Before I could hear you in both left and right from
Fair
Skype
enough.
coming in right, Discord coming in left.
Right, sweet. So that's a lot better. So I can now go share screen.
I can have up to date.
There we go. Right, so
That loads much
we're
quicker as well.
on
There we go.
Discord
There.
now. Right, okay, sweet. So back into the game. Right, so on my essay, Ignis von case gun of the rogue trader house of the Emporium, perhaps this kinship came to understandably give evidence. The Lord Captain, it's required no small effort on the part of her ladyship servant to discover the verify the blood ties, which now made you one of the heirs.
Yeah, so
Strange
basically, as you
time.
say, each rogue trader is a dynasty or a dynasty.
Yeah.
It's a big, long line of people going back to when they first got the writ. So he's basically saying they've investigated all the different like family trees, and apparently you are related to the trader, which thus means you're heir to the rogue trader.
Okay. Yeah, you've gone.
Hello.
Hello. Jeez, okay. Yeah, no, you've gone robotic-y there again, Jack.
I didn't know I was doing it.
I assume you had a goal in mind when you decided to seek me out. Let's. You say I'm the one of the road trade heirs, so there's another candidate.
What background did you go for, Scott?
I'm playing a crime lord.
Crime Lord, cool.
I would rather not discuss the Lord Captain behind her back. Especially not on board her ship. No one knows better than I that...
Because I lack
whispers are
imagination, I
well
went
to
with a
attract
commissar, and I did it, so...
Fair enough.
Close attention.
My first character was a psycho.
Suffice it to say
I know.
that her ladyship is the bearer of the sacred warrant of trade, and a woman of immense power and entitlement. However privileged your position may be, I ask that you do not incur her anger by being disrespectful or obtuse. Lady Theodora despises both qualities.
Okay, I'm going to do this. Change. Put you onto that. Do that rather so you guys don't hear your own voices. And I'm also dropping that volume down a little. Right, so. Right. Why have I been brought here? You got a curious master of whispers. What's your responses?
Put it plainly, I am the head of the network of spies and informers who serve the interests of House von Valencius. I uncover weak links both among Lady Theodora's retinue and in the ranks of her rivals. I eliminate our vulnerabilities and exploit those of others.
Okay. You say one of the road. Let me try that.
There is. And you will meet him soon enough.
Oh, very tight-lipped, I'd say. Why am I aboard the vessel?
So that you may fulfill your blood duty. Whatever obligations you had before, they are henceforth null and void. By order of the Lord Captain, you have been requisitioned to serve the rogue trader, indeed blessed by the God Emperor. Your former position may have been different from conventional service as part of one of the institutions of the Imperium, but from now on, a different fate awaits you. One chosen for you by the Lord Captain. I advise you to come to terms with this reality as quickly as possible.
Yeah, rogue traders are powerful enough. They can literally walk in and be like, right, I'm taking that. I'm taking that person, and I'm taking this building. And if anyone says anything, they just kind of flip on the bird and go, rogue trader, bitch.
Yeah. Interesting thought.
Such
I've
are
got
the
a large
traditions
sheet
of
of
the
paper that
Imperium.
says, I can do
Lord
what I want.
Captain is the title that was
Volume.
established in the annals
Got
of
the Emperor's
Lex
blood on it.
Imperialis.
So,
At the time when the first rogue
Screw you.
traders entered the Gold Emperor's service. And therefore, it is sacrosanct.
The only two forces that a rogue trader is beholden to, one is the custodians and one is the Inquisition.
I have
Outside
come
of that,
to invite you to a meeting with
even
Lady
the Lords of Terror
Theodora.
don't have too much control.
I imagine
They
you have
can-
many
they can
questions
technically
for
tell
our
Space Marines to
patroness,
fuck off.
And I'm sure
It may not
she
be
has
wise to do
just
so,
as
but they
many
can.
questions for you.
They can and they will.
It is the Lord's Captain and Master Edelthrad von Valencius are conversing on the observation platform. Let us join them.
In their defense, Space Marines also often say the same thing to everyone else, so...
Yeah.
Oh, that's what that feels like. I don't quite like that.
Mm.
Okay, follow him.
Because their spaceships are also the size of a small country, they are often hired by the Astrum and the Taru. transport all the soldiers.
Right.
Yeah.
You'll have like whole
Fallen meat.
sort of tanks and things as they just. So you got your own army and your own tanks. Then you also have the Astra Militarum tanks that you're having like, in a special cargo hold.
Okay.
So that briefly, you've got dogmatic, heretical, and iconoclast. So dogmatic is very true to the Emperor's word, faith.
Okay.
Heretical, as it sounds, the opposite of that most of the time. And iconoclast is more like for the people, for
Right.
like moral rightness, like not crushing the little dude. Reputations of various factions, they each have a shop, effectively,
Right.
that let
You're
you buy things
mistaken.
from them.
There's only two options: the Emperor's Way or heresy.
Yep, Emperor's Way or Blam.
A kind of class is just pretending to be virtuous whilst
None
being
shall
heretic.
stand in my way.
So, like the, as it says, like the old Baldur's Gate games and Neverwinter Nights, there is usually a button you can press that highlights things you can interact with. In this game, it is tab. So that little monocle symbol generally means you can inspect something, and it will give you a description of it when you're holding tab, or if you manage to find the thing on your own.
Okay.
I think you can rotate the camera if you hold middle
Yeah.
mouse, swing it around. Yeah. Or I think like Q and E on.
Yeah,
depending on your
Q&E.
settings to do stuff.
Jump to surprise in the eventful couple of cycles ago. Now that's tough. Delirium took hold of some. Okay.
Yeah. Faster than light travel in this universe is done by ripping a hole through hell, effectively.
Right.
Very Event Horizon, that film you hadn't seen until we watched it a while ago. Like you rip a hole through hell, disappear from that reality, and then pop out the other side. It's like taking a wormhole, but through hell. Bad
Okay.
stuff
Not
happens in
instant.
I'll
hell.
lay claim to the
You normally
stars.
spend like weeks or months in hell.
Yeah, you
Traveling
get
but you-
wibbly wobbly time stuff in the warp. Technically, you could go in, today, come out last Wednesday.
Or previous wood, or the Wednesday that's already gone. There was actually a story of an orc war boss. He went through the warp, came out precisely where he went in, but ended up encountering his own ship.
Mm.
He then boarded his own ship and killed himself because he wanted another copy of his own gun.
Pretty orky thing to do.
And now he has two of them.
Also the copy of the K. Imperial's Codex.
There are also huge Gestalt ships known as
Space Hulks?
yeah, Space Hulk, yeah. Just amalgamations of ships that get caught, like abandoned ships that are all left in the warp. But they eventually meld together to one giant, like a giant hybrid of every ship just crunched together. And you end up with loads of aliens that end up living inside of them, usually demons.
Means to.
Space Marines,
Perhaps you would like to take
Yeah.
a look around.
Space Marines spend
Your audience
ages just
with the
going
Lord
through those
Captain.
Space Hulks trying to find old human technology. There's stuff there from like the golden age of technology.
Like, even as advanced in sci-fi as this is the Dark Age, basically.
Oh yeah, this is the shit in the fans. We're well past the fans collide. We're not in a cleanup stage yet, which is right.
Why did you just duck in front of him?
Herald.
Annihilate them!
Right, you've been ambushed. Battle begins. Start battle. To survive the grim darkness of the future, you will have to face enemies of all kinds. Right.
So, like Pathfinder, you get normal combat, and sometimes you get surprise rounds. This is basically a surprise round. Normally when you start combat, you can position yourself and your characters within a certain range of where you are for better cover, better angles, etc. But because you've been ambushed, it's a surprise round, you don't get that choice. Combat starts.
Right. Now, and I go rather low. Now, it's giving me, you've been ambushed. I can't do anything at the moment, is that right?
Yes, because you've been ambushed, you don't get the option to position. It just
That
starts.
enemy, the enemy is a creature called a servitor. Now, because you're not allowed to have AI in the 40th millennium, what they
Because
actually
bad
do is they
stuff
take
happened.
human. Yeah, oh, really bad stuff happened. The Man of Iron was a terrible time for a lot of people. But because they can't have AI, what they actually do instead is they find slaves and prisoners, and they replace half their brains with cybernetics.
Basically lobotomize you and turn you into a human computer.
Yes. A lot of the time, actually, the people who are turned into servitors, because they still need the higher
Oh
brain
wait,
functions
I
to do
don't
more complicated
have
work.
a sword. I've got
No,
a
you
gun.
only have a pistol. Yes.
Can I shoot
So
that
the higher
far?
brain
Yes,
basically
but you
them-
have to
present
activate
brain
your
body.
shoot, which is number 1.
Okay.
That will then show you the range. So when you're not hovering over him, so if you put it off, so you can see there's kind of an inner square
Yeah.
and then an outer square. That's kind of normal range, long range.
Okay, so it's
So
best
you're
if I
currently not
move.
optimal range. Yeah. So if you move a little bit closer, you're probably going to have a greater chance to hit. So you've got 75% chance of doing 4 to 7 damage, and unfortunately you missed.
100% to miss.
Yep. So that was your turn.
Wow. Dead.
Very likely.
I can't shoot
So-
again.
Nope, because you've only got 1 attack per round at this low level. So if you look on the right hand side, those are your other abilities or skills. So currently obviously you can't use charge because you don't have a melee weapon.
Yeah.
But the one next to it is that plan thing.
Nothing I can't
So you've
do.
currently got 3 stacks of surefire plan,
Yeah.
which I think for you gives you a bonus damage on shooting and some other things.
Okay.
So
I can't move because it looks like you got to move first, then act.
yes, normally you move and shoot or attack, and
Okay.
but certain skills and things can let you, for example, attack, move, attack,
Oh, I'm dead.
or attack then move. Not yet. But what you could do is run away. Ah, see, he's got a red ring around him. Attack of opportunity. So if you try and move out or use, I think some ranged weapons you can't do in melee. If you try and move out, he's going to get a free hit on you. But
Okay.
again, you may dodge, you may block, depending on what skills and what equipment you've got.
Well, let's just give it a go.
I shall not fear.
Dodge.
Good. So now you can shoot.
1.
All too easy.
Okay. There we go. Now, no, he's after him. Oh.
No, he's fine.
What suspiciously poor timing for such an accident. Servitors malfunction on the officer's deck at exactly the same moment when the rogue trader and her heirs are gathered here. I have blocked all passages
So as
between
it says
the
there,
upper and
normally you
lower
can't
sectors
fire a
of the
ranged weapon in
residential
melee
decks.
unless it's a pistol or a
If
shotgun,
this is a deliberate attack,
because people with melee
it should
will stop you from
the
firing.
culprits from
Right.
advancing their plan.
Okay. Bit late.
I'm afraid I must remain here. For Lady Theodora's safety, I have to oversee the execution of these orders personally. I hope you will have no difficulty reaching the observation platform on your own. It is just at the end of this corridor.
Okay. Right. Can I search?
Normally,
Right.
if they've dropped anything, they have an outline around them. If you hold tab.
I'm holding tab now.
Yeah, so these ones you can't loot. But this is a big hall full of various lore bits and shiny things to look at. That is a Lehman Rust tank.
Okay. I can't get the angle I'm looking for.
It's about time.
Not on the object, on the monocle. You got to click on the
Oh.
yeah.
What happened there? Okay. There's nothing else in this room. Okay.
Here is a big door. That's a big ass door.
I was just gonna say that exact same thing.
There can be a lot of pomp in the Imperium. Especially when it comes to the church.
Right, WH40K. I don't like that servitor coming up. After a couple of seconds, it subsides, okay. I hope your Discord gets sorted out for the next stream.
The robot, yeah.
It comes and goes.
It is. Got bored.
Follow my lead.
Jeez, this room is very large.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, there's nothing actually useful there. Okay. Okay, that's where I am. Right.
A new challenge for me.
Oh, that's interesting.
That is simply irrational, Lady
Right.
Victoria. Assimilation into the trade structure would be political and economic suicide. Practically an admission of heresy.
Then suggest an alternative that will satisfy me. I have described the situation. No worse than my seneschal could have done. Make a decision. What will you do with Ion 6, Edelthrad?
I'm going to survey the room. Right, so your first impression of Edelthrad, who appears to be about 30 years old, is of parchment-like skin stretched over a tightly bundled mass of sinew, implants and bone. The nervously twitching fingers and face twist by a slight tick, and the jerky movements are all signs of some illness or defect that has taken over his physical form. In stark contrast, the feature appears as if they were carved from marble, eternal and indestructible. Head raised high, proud posture, hands clasped casually behind her back, everything seems to emphasize the difference in status between her and Edelthrad. Next to them, you see two more men. One is dressed in grey-haired officer, impeccable beard, who is standing, studying the contents of a data slate. And there's a behemoth. Yeah, we had those in the Space Marines too.
Yep.
The hostile, okay.
Our second candidate has joined us. Approach and give me your answer. Consider this hypothetical situation. Ion 6. A new world on the fringes of the
But
Coronis
because your
expanse.
Xenos was high enough,
High seismic
done.
activity.
Also, there are dice
Regular
rolls.
eruptions,
Pretty sure,
metamorphic
in the
rock
background.
deposits,
Okay.
prospects for large-scale mining. The world is populated by natives who worship some heretical underworld spirits that protect those who offer them sacrifices. Flights of fancy, you might say, but attempts to install ore extractors have failed for the second time. The mining crews sent to the planet's surface simply vanished.
I think actually if you
overnight.
hover over the succeeded
My
bit, I think it
question
might
to
actually
you
show you what
is,
the roll was.
what would you do with this?
Where do you even
massive
see
treasure?
that succeeded?
Where it says Law Xenos succeeded.
Oh, okay, got you.
See?
Right.
It shows you what the target was and how you did.
So, what, the target was 13?
And you had a 100% chance to succeed it because of your skill. Whereas that was 15, you had a 100% chance. At least I think that's the way it worked. But again, that can work for all your skills. There could be an athletics test, there could be a weapon
Right.
skill test, an agility test. So depending on your skills, the better a chance you have of doing it.
Okay, what would you do with the poison treasure? Ways to confirm that's happened on
Lots of new
the...
world, lots of seismic activity, so magma eruptions.
Right.
Possibly a good chance for mining, but there are natives who worship.
Okay, which one?
underworld.
Which one are you reading? The first one.
I know. I was looking at what she said.
Oh.
So it's a new world. It's got resources on it. There's natives there, but they talk about underworld spirits, and they offer them sacrifices, which obviously, that's worshipping someone who isn't the emperor. Not good. But you've been trying to put ore extractors on there, and it keeps failing. And all the crews keep disappearing. So something's happening. How are you going to find out what's happening? So, as Xenos succeed is, those spirits could actually be
dangerous aliens.
Aliens.
Yeah.
So it might not be demons or spirits. Could just be aliens.
Yeah.
But they might be worshipping aliens, which is bad.
The law will, in other
one.
words, you just push forward and take over. What was that, Damien? Sorry?
So far, I'm thinking 2 different alien species that could be.
So warp is obviously the warp, air quotes, magic, psychic shit.
Yeah.
So you could use psychers to figure out how to do it. It's very risky, but you'll get what you want to know.
Yeah.
And then that's one you saying in your life experience, you found out that people will betray people. Could use it. That fourth option is like, it sounds like heresy. However, me first, I'll do what I have to. It's mine.
Okay.
And then the last one is pretty much, yeah, good of the Imperium. Kill them all. Yeah, number 6. I don't know.
To be honest with you, I think the first one's probably the good one to go for.
Pick what you want.
Reasonable and prudent. However, chasing after ethereal creatures may prove a rather long and
As I say, when it gets to the
fruitless
multiplayer component, like Baldur's Gate, it's a case of I can pick an answer that I would recommend you do, but you get the final thought. You always have the power to say which one.
I suspect that you are simply unaware of their existence.
Right, so the first one is, I understand, was still more than you could do. Sorry, Damien?
From the description so far, the MO seems to suit both the Eldari and the Necron tier.
They're good at making people disappear. And they
Both
don't like
those
people on their grass.
Yep.
Yeah. So he's being a bit of a dick about it. I'd authorize that is.
Possibly doom stealers, but truth be told, they tend to breed with you before they eat you.
Yeah. And then they take generations to work out how they want to do stuff. But yeah, he's scoffing. He's saying, yeah, it could be aliens, but it also could be tons of different things. You just don't know what it is. You're an idiot. To which you can reply and be like, well, I gave an answer. It was straightforward and simple, which you couldn't do. You're an idiot. Or you take the higher, like, pious ground and say, look, we both serve her and the God Emperor. Why are we arguing? It's petty. Third one, get pissed at him. Fourth one, get really pissed at him.
I reckon number 2, basically, you belittle him that way.
Yeah, so it's a power move of doing it that way.
Even among his flock, not all are of a piece. I suggest you familiarize yourself with that fact before you are soaring.
Edelthrad, I believe I gave you an assignment on this ship. Explain to me then why my senior congregator is still dawdling about
And
the
then she
officer's
just
deck
shouts him
instead
down.
of proceeding to the middle decks to commence the inspection
She's
of
a
the
rogue trader. She
compartments
can
in
shout
his
pretty much anyone
purview.
down.
I beg your forgiveness, Lady Theodora. Your presence has such a profound effect on me that I well forgot the time.
Good. Scuttle away, little mouse.
Why are you here?
Was it not you? Was it not you who sent for me? There's questions that I wish to have answered. I don't know yet. Oh, who is this woman?
She is the rogue trader.
She's
Technically, however many degrees separated from your relative, but yeah, she's a rogue trader. Very important, very powerful.
so
And captain of this ship.
tuning her. Was it not you who sent for me? Be a little bit too rude.
Could be. As the Void Gear guy before said, don't waste her time and don't be rude. But it might be your character. You were a previous crime lord, you did big things. You're like, well, I don't give a fuck who you are.
Yeah.
Might get you in trouble, but option 1 sounds a bit glib.
Yeah, I think option 2
fairly straightforward. I just want to know out. And option 3 could be a bit more subservient. You're saying I don't know, but I'm hoping you're going to tell me.
Go with number 2.
You are direct. I
See,
approve,
she likes it.
But you will have to wait. There is something I want you to understand first.
Okay.
My name is Theodora von Valancius Massimo of Scaris. I am a rogue trader in the service of the God Emperor of humanity. And my rights and freedoms are vindicated by a most sacred relic. The warrant of trade, kept aboard this very vessel. Mine is the honor to venture into the darkness, beyond the Imperium, and carry humanity's light where powers wicked and heretical reign, and bow death and ruin to us all.
To us all.
It is my decision alone to determine the fate of whatever I find past the bounds of the explored void. Every world I discover, along with all there is to find thereon. Resources, people, riches, and mysteries, is mine by right. I command millions of lives, rule over numerous planets, and possess fortunes that no planetary governor or commander could dream of amassing. And you are one of those with von Valancius blood in their veins and a rightful claim to this inheritance when the hour comes.
Right, I'm ready to take on this sacred purpose. It's all too sudden for me. Does this mean there are other heirs? I think
I did say there was another one. I believe you have met them.
I'm not going to play dumb. I'm going to be straightforward.
Oh, yes. You would be, wouldn't you? The question is, am I ready to choose you over the rest? You came
One of the things she said,
hours
obviously,
before the
as a
war
rogue trader,
dropped,
it's not
and have
just
not
go
yet
out into space,
distinguished
do
yourself
stuff like
anyway.
literally
Yeah.
you own
As
planets.
things currently stand, I have doubts
You own
that
systems.
You are suitable for
Like
the
there's
role of rogue.
not just
Bloodright
space
alone is not
privateering,
enough to
although there
earn
is a
the
lot of
high
that.
honor of becoming the
Like, you have a
bearer
lot of power.
warrant of trade. Nonetheless, your abilities and talents may yet prove useful. If not for the role of Lord Captain, then for that of their closest ally. Alas, even those responsibilities can at times be too challenging for those who share your blood. Kunrad Voitvir served me for many years before he made his mistake.
The Master of Whispers is related to you. Thanks for clarifying my question now.
That's the guy that walked you
Yeah.
through before you got attacked. He's
Yeah.
the spy master, but he's also related to her. Though she said per her dialogue, he did something wrong. Doesn't sound like he's in the running much longer. Or
Yeah.
in the running anymore.
So I think if I just be direct and straight to the point.
I have some time before the navigator gives the signal to initiate the void ship's translation out of the warp, and my presence is required on the bridge.
So yeah. Vox is like the radio, the intership communication.
Okay.
The tannoy.
Right, so. What are the things you speak of? An incident took place on the officer's deck. Some servitors went berserk and attacked the crew.
That did happen.
Where's your ship headed? What's my current responsibilities? Gracious Lord Captain, surely there's ways I can prove my... Oh, don't fucking beg.
Sound very bootlicky.
Yeah. I think telling her about the what happened.
Is that so? Perhaps the technomats were careless during maintenance. Or it could be the warp
So she
playing
mentions
tricks on
the
us in
Geller
spite
field.
of
The Geller field is basically like a...
Perhaps there
Think of it
is
like a
something
force
to
field
all
around the ship,
stories about the
for when you're
ship
going
being
through hell,
possessed after
through the
all.
warp. If you don't have it, you're like raw in the warp,
Lady
anything can happen.
Theodora,
The Geller field
for the
helps
God
stop
Emperor's
bad
sake,
stuff happening.
Surely you do not intend
But sometimes
to
stuff
start
still gets through it.
repeating idle rumors
Yeah, it's
spread
supposed to
about by
reduce the chances of
uneducated
demons
readers.
Right,
through.
hold on, right.
Also
Surely you
supposed
don't
to-
intend to repeat idle rumours spreading about... And Ryan, is he calling us riffraff? Sorry, Damien.
No, he's talking about the rumors on the ship of things happening. I
Ah.
don't know if there's a way to go back on the conversations. I think if you move over the conversation box and scroll up, does it take you... There you go. Scroll down. It was past. So she's saying, yeah, maybe the mechanics were careless during their maintenance, or, you know, the warp's playing tricks on us, or there is a story about the ship being possessed. Maybe that's true.
Right.
So he's going, well, uneducated idiots say that. Surely you're not propagating that rumor.
Right, cool. Sorry, Damien, what was that you said?
The Geller field is supposed to prevent demons from getting on board your ship.
Right.
Chaos Space Marines
Enough
turn theirs off
Babylon.
because they
Such
tend to be in
hearsay
league with
amuses me.
demons.
Hey, buddy, buddy.
Idira eagerly retells me everything she
The
learned
Tau
from the whispers of her unseen
don't
advisors.
have that kind of technology
This
yet. They
ship
haven't
is
worked out
thousands of years
what
old.
Geller fields were for.
It has enough
Okay.
hidden nooks, malfunctioning
but thankfully,
cogitators and unused compartments
Tau,
to make
or the
ignorant
primary
folk
Tau
speak of
race,
spectres
Tau Va,
dwelling inside the bulkheads
because they have
and
such a
plotting
weak
against those who
presence
yet
in terms
live.
of like the spirituality. If you think of it this way, if Eldar are like candles burning in the dark, humans are like embers
Okay.
in terms of what your spirit is like in the warp.
Right.
But if you look at the Tau Va, the Tau Va don't even register as that. They're like almost soulless. So first time they went through the warp, they didn't have any problem because the demons just didn't recognize they were there.
Right.
But then the Tau keep on picking up other alien races to join their empire. And these other races have souls that start glowing in the dark. And the demons started attacking the Tau, and the Tau had no fucking idea why. They even at one point tried to recruit the demons, say, "Oh, you don't have to attack us. We can be friends." And the demons were like, "Absolutely, let's be friends, lunch." Necrons have found a way to travel through the warp via the webway, same as the Eldar. Now, the Eldar inherited the webway from the old ones. The old ones actually built like highways through the warp that are protected from the chaotic energies of psychic, or the chaotic psychic energies about there. They're like walled off tunnels through the warp, so you could travel through safely.
Okay.
And the Necrons, realizing that they needed to travel, found a way to hack their way into those tunnels. But the Eldar have like major control over those tunnels. So generally speaking, the Eldar don't need Geller fields because they've got sheltered tunnels that they use, but many of those tunnels keep collapsing. So they're not quite as able to get around as other factions.
All right.
And there are also
Observe,
bad things that
learn,
hide in them.
Absorb. It will take
Oh,
time
absolutely.
for you to find your bearings aboard this vessel.
Funny
and in
enough,
your
the
new
very
position.
reason why the
Eventually,
Emperor is on
I
the
will
Golden
find a
Throne right
post
now is
that
because he
suits
was trying to
you
build
as
his
I
own
did for
webway.
Ethelthrad.
Yep.
Until that time comes,
And then Magnus did
consider
nothing
yourself
wrong.
my aid.
Only if you're a child would you believe that.
In
But
that
yeah,
case,
Magnus.
I shall head to
I think he was trying to send a warning to the Emperor about something, and he accidentally kind of brute forced his way through and fucked up the Emperor's entire Webray project, which I think ended up creating like a warp tunnel under the palace.
Yes. Which the Emperor, even in his deathly state, has to sit on the throne because he's the only thing stopping them demons from coming through that gateway.
He also powers the
Astronomical
lighthouse thing. That's it, yeah.
The only reason humanity have been able to navigate through the warp is because they can use where Terra is as a.
So it's literally just straight into combat.
Yep. Yeah. That stuff is happening. Unfortunately,
Right. All combat action turned. Okay.
Like should help on a turn.
Sorry, Jack, you broke up there again.
Emperor, protect me.
My place is at the fore. Break them morale. For the glory of the Imperium.
Wow.
Out of my way.
Yep, he's got a nice gun. Melters can go through tanks. They do what it says on the tin. They melt the things.
They even burn their way through stone as well.
Let's cover character and hide beyond. Unmarked with a shield. When you stand too close to the cattle, automatically take up. Okay.
Like XCOM.
Yeah.
You've got heavy cover, light cover. So if you go behind a big skull, that's heavy cover in the direction it's facing. Half a shield, light cover. Better cover, better chance to not get hit. So depending on which the angle you're trying to not get hit from, obviously you take the appropriate cover. As a melee class later on, obviously you won't care about it as much because you'll be running in.
Yeah.
But getting up there can sometimes mean hiding in cover for a bit.
Right, so he's just out of my range for shooting.
In your normal range, yes. You can take a long shot, but there's a less chance of hitting.
Yeah.
Because it's out of your optimal range.
Right, I'm thinking of just going to there.
Yeah, because there's considerably more people with that side of the room than there is behind you, as it were.
Right, so...
Again, after all the years of playing XCOM.
Okay, and then...
Suits my purpose. You didn't stand a chance.
Now...
I think she's got a buff on you that gives you a fair amount of extra damage, but you did just crit.
Yes. Now, do I have a... No, I don't. And that's got... Where do I see this? Is this one where it says 3?
That is how many stacks you have.
Okay.
Yeah, so you've got 3 stacks of Surefire Plan. You can use 1 stack to activate that for either a certain amount of rounds or until something happens, depending on the skill. So, consuming 1 stack makes the next action stronger, depending on what you do. So if you attack, you get 13% more damage. If you move, you're getting more dodge and parry. If you don't use an attack or dodge, if it's a non-damaging ability, they get minus damage.
Okay, which I shot
So
someone.
if you turn that on, next round, you shoot someone, you'll do more damage.
Right, sweet. So, at the moment, just end my turn.
Unless you want to turn that on. As I say, that will impact what you do, because obviously you've already had your actions this turn. So next turn, that will impact.
Right.
So use it multiple times per turn. Interesting.
Okay, so I'm going to
It's a
activate.
pre-action buff.
Cool. End turn.
Yep.
Ouch.
Also with combat, certain weapons have pierce through.
Yeah.
So if
I've
there's
had
like
worse.
2 people in a line, you could hit both of them.
Yeah. I love that. I've had worse.
Brace yourself, Abelard.
Certainly taking some damage.
He is.
Tried and tested tactics are the best ones.
Jesus.
Took care of this
He's
one.
got a plasma weapon. And he's done cleave, which is exactly as it is in Pathfinder. You just hit multiple people. It's in range.
Death to the heretics.
Bloody hell.
Yeah. Fun to see what happens to a human when you use an anti-tank weapon on them.
Right, so your character received a temporary positive effect from an ally. Such as effect enhances your character's capabilities in combat. To learn more, right, okay.
So, if you get any buffs or debuffs next to your character's face, you can see there's kind of like 6 squares.
Yeah, so I've got the Surefire Plan 2 of 20.
Yep.
I've got the Kill Them plus 50 ballistic skill till end of combat. And I've got Surefire Plan.
Yeah, or if you right-click on a character, it will bring up, on like a character model, it will bring up what they are, what their skills are. Certain levels, it's like inspecting or analyzing. I think a higher level of certain points makes it easier to see enemy stats. But if
Okay.
you scroll down, you can see effects. That will then show you all the current active buffs, what they're using, what their skills those things have, etc. So if there's ever a buff on you that you don't recognize, you can be like, right, what is that? And it'll tell you
Okay.
everything.
Right, now we've only got these bad guys.
There's
Oh.
two there and then
Right, hold on. There is nobody.
fog of war, but yeah.
Right, so I reckon if I get to,
That'll give you cover.
yeah, but if I'm trying to shoot to this guy over here, will that be out of range?
But if you click
Sorry?
you've clicked once, but you haven't like committed.
Yes.
You can see there's 2
Right, sorry, Jack. Hold on. You're breaking up again. Basically, you see those 2 lines?
2 thin lines.
Yes.
Mean you can see those enemies, so they're within line of sight.
Yes.
If you press number 1, you can now plan to attack from where you are moving to. So you can post move, check you're in range, and attack. So they're just outside of your like internal range from the looks of it.
Yeah.
But you can still hit them, or attempt to hit them based on cover and chance to hit, etc. And then if you did tell it to attack, it would then move and then perform the actions.
Right. I'm just wondering if that's a good move or not.
Well, currently you've got that big buff to ballistic skill. It's giving you plus 50, so you've got a higher chance to hit.
I got plus 80 to hit.
To the chance, yeah, to the skill. So you've got a higher chance to hit than not, but they are in cover. So it's whether or not you want to try and flank them, or you want to stay defensive and be in cover.
Okay, to be
Again,
honest
when you're
with
melee,
you,
you'll be
yeah,
getting
if
better.
I run to here, they're still just outside.
No. If you hover over them, like the red, so you've got a 36% chance on him, and the other one, got a 36% chance on, because they're in hard cover. So from that position, you can only see him, and not him.
You know what? 36.
Yeah, so the red square is kind of where you can hit.
My tactics are flawless.
Well, yes.
Yeah, I'd just taken a chance.
Oh yeah. I mean, you played XCOM, you got that 95% chance to hit, and you miss. That's XCOM, baby.
Yeah.
A tactically sound approach. Reduced to dust.
I didn't even see him.
strengthens me.
Right.
Die!
Done.
Again, bit late,
Yeah, they'll
boys.
turn up.
A bit late.
Mort, take a team with you and clear a path to the transport line. Do not let a single whoreson survive. Didn't bat an eye when that scum burst onto the deck, huh? Not bad. I have seen many an officer who panicked at the sight of combat on the upper decks. The false sense of security offered by their position makes them that much more vulnerable to the harsh realities of warp travel.
Right. What's happening? Well, we're being invaded. That's
Could
a
be an
given.
invasion, could be rebellion, could be space madness.
Yeah, we're being attacked, right? Okay, so let's do.
Mort has gone on ahead to clear a path for us. If you want to make yourself useful, go after him and see if the Arch-Militant requires aid. And be quick about it.
Okay. Right, so go to journal. Right, so what do we got over here? So, officer's
find the
deck is under attack. Sorry?
So it's now updated to find the Arch-Militant is your main quest.
Yeah. Go to clear to lift the upper decks. Officer may return yet. Okay. Right, so do you know what I'm actually going to do? I'm going to pause it there for a little while. How long have I actually been streaming for? Almost 2 hours. I'm going to make myself a cup of coffee, which will take me about 5 minutes. I'll be back again, and I'll carry on playing for another half hour, because then I don't want to go to bed too late, because I was in bed late and I was up early again. It's up at 5:30, dude.
And we've got an earlier game start tomorrow as well.
Yes, that is correct. So I'm not going to be playing too much longer, but I said I'd be streaming tonight. Let me go make coffee. I'll be back in about 5 minutes.
Cool. I'm going to go get a snack.
Right, back. Now.
Victory awaits.
Right, here we go. Still nothing on the floor to pick up.
I tire of idleness. Let's move.
Oh, where must I go? Zoom in. Ooh. Wait, whoa.
They say a little bit of humility never hurt anyone. I help others better themselves by wholeheartedly humiliating them at every step.
Okay, can't go over there.
I'll lay claim to the stars.
Okay, I'm not. You're hiding your traitor.
And back.
Cool.
Ah, you're here.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank Providence you are alive and well.
Life and well.
Always on time, eh, Coonrad? The moment we finish chasing the riffraff around the deck, you show up. Always just after the fighting's done. You could set your chrono by it.
Mort, hold yourself together.
What, did the Lord Captain send you to chivvy us along? We're all done here. I'll report right away.
Okay.
Master of Whispers, what is happening on my ship? The Voxnet is silent. The Vox Master is not responding. Armed assailants have stormed the officer's deck, and my arch-militant just destroyed several more heretics on the way here. Is this a severe case of warp madness?
Space madness.
Have some of my crew lost their minds and forgotten who they are and whom they serve? Report!
I have not yet received word from the Engineerium regarding any Geller field failures, but communications were already unstable half an hour ago, and now they have ceased altogether. Whatever the cause may be, the consequences are spreading fast. I am receiving scattered reports from the middle decks, and the only vox casts from the lower bays are one-way heretical gibberish. That the madmen have already reached the officer's deck suggests that this outrage was planned in advance. Perhaps this is an organized mutiny.
Mutiny, but who would attempt mutiny here in the warp? A mutiny against the Emperor, anointed. Execute the traitors, every last one. You must provide immediate assistance to those still in the middle decks. Perhaps we might stop the wave from spreading. If this indeed is a severe case of warp madness, then the situation is dire. I think pragmatic is the best way to go here.
First, we have to confirm that the bridge and the navigator's sanctum are secure. And I have the means to do both things at once.
Her eyes flash ominously.
Edelthrad, where is he? I must know if he is unharmed. A psyker aboard a ship that is potentially being assailed by the warp could pose a greater threat to himself and others than a whole army of madmen with
as we said,
improvised weapons.
psychers, they do the magic.
Yeah.
But they pull that from the warp.
And it's wild magic.
It has some of the characteristics of wild magic. So shit can go really wrong.
Yeah, that's
But
why I didn't choose one.
the main caveat is you are pulling your magic from hell.
Yeah.
So there's lots of bad stuff in hell.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to locate him, but the last
Like
thing
the
known
magical
about his
mishaps
movements
table of a
is
wild
that he
wizard.
arrived on
It could literally
transitional
be,
deck
oh, I just
18.
want to cast a lightning bolt. Oh, they've turned into a sheep.
Yep.
Or I've turned into a sheep.
Master of Whispers,
Or in
find
Warhammer,
Edelthrad
it's a bit more
immediately.
grimdark, and it's like,
Seneschal,
oh, the
locate
walls
Glass
are
and the
bleeding.
Sister of Battle. Both are to remain at my side.
Or a
Archmilitant
giant
with
fly
me.
bursts out of your
I
head.
must go to my study. And it appears we might encounter heretics
Killing you in the
along
process.
the way.
I think on the D100
If
table
I
on
may, Lord Captain.
I don't know which
Transitional
version that I
deck
played.
18 is at the
I think it was before
heart of the
2.0 for the
disturbance,
pen and
and
paper
if our
RPG
goal is to bring
of
Edelthrad back,
Rotator. Effectively,
I could use some
the
support.
worst result was you
After
became
all,
a demon
I'm
host.
not as adept at directly confronting enemies of the house as the
And
esteemed
yeah, demon hosts will
archmilitant.
ruin planets,
And taking into
sectors.
consideration
Like a demon uses you as a gateway to like pull itself
Then
through.
it's settled. Find Edelthrad and bring him here. In whatever state you
And you
find
don't
him.
stretch all that well.
This
You
elevator
can use your meat suit for a little
leads to
while.
restricted compartments such as my personal chambers and the bridge. Do not let me
Thing
down.
is, if demons were
require
summoned to
you
the
both
region
to
without the
understand.
right environment, they end up basically evaporating over time.
Yeah. Every demon's got a
So,
battery.
so they kind of need either to have a massive rip or rent in reality into the warp to fuel them, or a living vessel
Move
to
out.
hide within
Mort, come.
in order to impact the world around them. Something else the tower found out the hard way.
Okay.
Mhm. But yeah, they
In
need-
Are
the
you
Foresight
ready to head
novels,
to
there's a Tau
It is a
who
long walk, and you
got
do not
possessed
even
by
have proper key.
a Zechian demon. And
Okay.
that doesn't end well.
Should make do.
Of course you will. Lady Theodora would never have someone she couldn't rely on as one of her heirs. But
There's
that
no
is
longer
no
relevant.
Do you remember the 4 Chaos Gods, Scott?
Oh, for fuck's sake. No. So he just backstabbed us. Nice.
Quite literally.
You can enable install DLC you're currently playthrough by opting DLC section of the game.
Oh, that is something we should look at as well. In the options, there's a section you should look at when you actually get to the game where you can control it again, I think.
Careful, careful. Be gentle with our guest. He has an important mission to complete during our visit to the Warrant Chamber. And for that, I need him breathing. Oh, you are back with us, I see.
Delightful.
Delightful.
I'm gonna go with number 2 because I don't. Do you reckon he's gonna be one of those guys that monologue?
You must have hit your head harder than I thought. No matter. Very little is required of you. Just your blood, which you can either share of your own volition, or I will spill it for you. We are in the anteroom of the Warring Chamber, this void ship's most hallowed vault. There, beyond those gates, lies the relic that gives Theodora all of her power. The sacred Warrant of Trade. Only one obstacle remains on my path to obtaining it. The gates of the chamber are guarded by the Sentinel. An ancient device that will only open the door to a true heir of the dynasty. I expected to do this part myself, but never mind. You will offer your blood to the Sentinel.
What is it? Inbred. I like that one. Will you let me join you? Can we take the warrant from Theodora together? I will help you as long as you spare my life. I have no intention of helping. Now, playing a crime lord, I would either go for 4 or 5. Four seems like I'm pleading for my life, whereas 5 I could possibly backstab him later on. I'm gonna go with 5. Jack, what do you think? Damien, what do you think?
I think you should do you, Scott.
I may consider it. Once you've
In fact,
done
I've already played
what I
past
need
this
you to
bit,
do.
means I kind of know what's coming, so I don't feel anything I can give would be fair.
Okay. Why are you doing this?
Why? Because I am following an order. What is happening on this ship right now has been in the making for a very long time. All that remains is to obtain what my master sent me for. The Warrant of Trade.
Okay.
There's a good boy. Then go to the Sentinel at the gates of the Warring Chamber and fulfill your destiny. I had hoped to feed Edelthran to the machine. He is the one who caught Theodora's eye, after all. But since procuring him has proved difficult, you will have to do.
Joy.
Yeah, because you're of the dynasty, only your blood can get through the lock. He's technically of the dynasty. Cogitators are machines. So yeah. So that there it says Tech Use 75, examine the device. That's an active skill check.
Yeah.
So you choose to do it. You can pass, you can fail.
Okay, one of the available dialogues requires K. Now,
so again, if you hover over the Tech Use 75, it should tell you what your chance is.
100%.
Yeah. doing that shouldn't fail. And what it also does is when you've got multiple people in your party,
Yeah.
it will tell you who the best character is to do that skill. So a lot of older games, you would have to actively come out of the conversation, change to the other character, engage with the character that's got the high speech stat, and then do it. In this one, they're in your party, they're there with you, they do it.
Nice.
So it tells you who's the best one, and then they can just do it.
Okay. Examine the sentinel. Do I want to actually try and start a fight? I'll probably die.
I don't know.
Can't move. Right. Hold on. There's 1, 2, 3.
4 or 5. Actually, maybe 6.
Okay, let me place the hand and see what happens first. You will lean against the slate. Okay.
High levels of caustic humus. The subject is in a state of heightened stress. Do you require assistance?
Okay, get quiet coming from. Okay, right. Oh.
Request accepted. Initiating defense protocol.
Caustic humors. Good old humor system.
Huh.
There is still another way.
Okay, check the warrant chamber. Okay, it's open the doors. Dennis, yeah, it's time to make sure the secret woman is safe. Right. Protect massive doors. Okay. Now, I'm going to presume I've got to watch where I walk.
Oh, so how impressive can this warrant be, Scott, honestly?
Well, I'm just thinking of setting off any booby traps.
Let me know what you think.
That's a big piece of paper.
Yep. Right, let it be known that my by my will and okay, Paragon of Humanity broken device work. Okay. Odd risen fate walks through the thorns. Okay, now she's gonna appear there, like ta-da.
Escort the child of the house to safety.
But you got a servo skull.
Okay.
Another bit of fun lore there.
I need a weapon.
Distance from the current location to the nearest arsenal. Initiating situational calculations. Voxcast frequencies disrupted. Initiating setup. Establish.
Voxmaster, restore communication with the navigator's sanctum. I am trying to contact the bridge. If anyone can hear me on this frequency, regroup all available forces and head to the upper decks at once. I repeat, regroup all available forces and head
To the upper deck.
Communication protocols breached. Signal latency gateway connection.
Okay.
Voxcast frequencies disrupted.
Voxmaster, restore communication with the navigator's sanctum. I am trying to contact the bridge. If anyone can hear me on this frequency, regroup all available forces.
Communication protocols breached. Signal latency assessment unavailable. Temporary obnubilation following acute stress. Mobile unit of the Warrant Sentinel standing by.
Is this thing classified as a Warrant Sentinel?
What are you going to ask?
Mobile unit of the Warrant Sentinel designed as a personal escort of the child of the house and at middle and upper decks. Assuming the probability of safe placement in areas of concentration of armed units. Calculating. To prevent unauthorized units from breaching the warrant chamber, preemptive sealing must be initiated.
Okay.
Follow my lead.
Oh, quickly, Scott.
Hmm.
If you press escape and go to options,
As in DLC or mods.
no, options, the one above it. Go to accessibility. I can't remember which one was the problem for you, but you've got red, green,
Yeah.
and then blue, yellow. So I don't know if that will change anything. Obviously, the higher you put the bar, the more it scales. Just in case it helps.
I've not had much issues with the color needing to know about that. Color segment displayed with. Please adjust the slider for maximum viewing comfort.
Yeah, so depending on which type of color issue you have.
No, that. Yeah, because that one there is red.
Yep.
And I'm guessing that's the green because those are the two colors that
Correct.
really changed.
Yeah, that's red and green.
Yeah, I can see the difference on those.
Ah, that's fine.
Because if I do that, that darkens and that becomes more like a
pinkish purpley color.
I was gonna, yeah.
Yeah. What about the top one? Does that change it much? I think that's you've got both on there.
Oh.
It's purple and blue for me.
No. I'm going to leave it like that for now, but thank you. That is something worth...
Yeah, just in case it ever becomes an issue.
Yes. Yep, I've got both of those. I've got 2 ticks. Or no, are those locked?
Already incorporated, yeah.
Cool. Right.
Ah, button.
I have a feeling that if I'd have left that open...
Run, fools, or fall.
Oh, nice.
There's a chainsaw. Many awesome things that have come out of WH40K. Because why the fuck not?
Yeah.
Do you know
Master.
why chainsaws were invented?
What?
No, I don't.
Well, whatever are you doing in the warrant chamber?
Normal chainsaws or chain swords, sorry.
Throne preserve
Chainsaw.
me. What is the meaning of this?
Oh, it's to
Remember
help
it
cut
being
down
something
trees.
Pretty bad.
Nope, not for trees.
Well, they were for beating something, wasn't it?
No.
Okay, hold on.
It's supposed to help with C-section.
A C-section.
Try and
cut
help
babies out.
childbirth.
Yeah.
That's when the first chainsaws came from. Then they later decided, no, that was a bit messy. It was much
18th
more
century.
effective.
So they weren't always on the up and up of medical science.
He's clearly serving.
Oh, holy God, Emperor! I presume he is the one responsible for the mutiny. Bandmaster, I wish to remind you that you are to refer to the Lord Captain as Lady Theodora.
Right, so he openly admitted he's mastermind behind the mutiny, unquestionably. Why don't we leave the matters of etiquette for another time? So it would seem, but not here. Right, so for Mia, you're asking too many questions. Just go with the first one.
Saints' blood! And it is small wonder that the heretics are so well organized. I thought his order to seal the passages between decks was his attempt to stop the attackers from spreading to other levels. But now I see the real reason. It was to stop the enforcers from intervening. At least you are alive, and now safe, Master. Alas, I doubt we can afford to look for a compartment to sit out this disaster.
Right.
You're in a bad way.
Right.
Giving you a
I
gun
can treat your wounds.
and an axe.
I have a Medicaid kit with me. And for the love of the throne, now is not...
Was given Dobby a saw.
Yep.
So, there you go. That's talking about injuries.
Okay.
Wounds. Wounds is your health.
Jack, have you gotten very far in this game?
I finished it a couple of times. But I haven't done all of the Void DLC.
Apparently, they're going to feature Ulfric with the same voice actor in Space Marine 2.
Oh, okay.
So he's going to be involved in this, one of the later updates of Space Marine 2. It's supposed to be interesting.
I hope so.
I don't
So,
have time for this.
quick
It does mean
thing
like
about...
the director's got to find the character so he can recognise it later when it turns up in the deal in Space Marine 2. But yeah.
Yeah. Quick thing about the armor, if you hover over it. So it gives you 20% armor, but it incurs a 75% dodge penalty.
Oh, wow.
And then it says, on the average enemy at this level, you will dodge 26% of the time. And it reduces the damage they do by 15%.
Okay. No.
Now you've got multiple weapons.
Yeah.
Weapons have their normal attack, sometimes they have a special attack. So that's just normal hit, is number one. Number two is swing. And if you see, it's got sort of 3 squares and the little person. So you would hit 3 squares in front of you. So it's a cleave in a line.
Right.
And then the third one is an attack, but it can inflict bleed.
Right. Okay.
And then in your offhand, you've got single shot, and then probably multi-shot, and then reload, and how many bullets are in it.
Yeah, so that's 6. Alright, so let's actually save the game, upper decks.
Can we test one thing?
Yes.
Before we finish. Press escape and go to cooperative mode. I just want to see if I can actually join in at this point. It's basically say make sure you're in the same region, you're on the same version. Like Gloomhaven, you generate a code and I use that to join. So if you do create lobby, hopefully I think you can then maybe just be able to invite me. There you go. Let's just make sure that works. Cool, I'm in. good. Cool. And then key. I think you can then assign me a character like Gloomhaven.
Okay.
There you go. Cool. It works.
Cool.
That is a noticeable improvement. Now you're prepared. The lower decks are teeming with heretics instigating the rabble to revolt. But that is the least of our problems. The ship's enforcers are rounding up the scoundrels and suppressing the resistance. The situation on the middle decks is much worse, although strike teams have already been dispatched there. All communication with the bridge and the engineering bay was lost. So, apart from scattered voxcasts, we have no information to go on. But that is not the worst of it all. All these jolts and shaking are most alarming. These are signs that the navigator and the master helmsman are having difficulty translating the ship out of the warp and into real space. I fear that they may have already lost control. We must reach the navigator's sanctum and get a handle on the situation. If we can manage that, some aboard this vessel may yet survive.
I must admit, with a ship this size, it's probably very difficult to try and notice what's really going on outside. Right, so what's gone wrong with the translation? How did you find me? What can we expect to find in the navigators? Right, let's go with that one.
During warp transit, the sanctum is closed to all who are not involved in traversing the Imperium. And for good reason. For the navigator to open their third eye and perceive the way, the sanctum must be bathed in the energies of the immaterial. Only a navigator can withstand such an ordeal. For the rest of us, any contact with the warp is fraught with perils such as loss of sanity, spontaneous mutations, and death.
Okay. Right, Jack, you've gone completely off. Almost back.
I am no helmsman. Oh, God Emperor preserve me, navigator. However, I've spent my entire life.
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong.
With warp drives, and I know that portents such as these
still
do
robotic?
not
No, you're back.
Okay,
It
cool.
could be
Yeah.
that the Gellerfield has
Navigators help navigate through the warp. They are a mutant. Normally, being a mutant in the Imperium of Man gets you killed. Because you're not pure, you're not human. But navigators are a special form of mutation that are psychic, but they help. They have that third eye on their head, which lets them see into the warp to actually guide ships through.
Right.
They are a sanctioned mutant, like there are sanctioned psychers.
Right.
They were
But,
also
yeah.
developed by the Emperor. The Emperor was the one who designed their mutation.
And literally,
They say
because
the
their
Emperor.
eye is looking into the warp, if they open it in the presence of normal people,
Oh, for fuck's sake,
real bad stuff
Jesus.
Close ranks.
Yes.
Right. Start the fucking battle. You've gone robotic-y. Right. Right. What's happened? Why can't... Fuck's sakes.
We learned.
Out of my way.
Nice.
Of course, I can bet.
Death to the weak.
Right, be careful, companions can get hurt. Your burst attack area to avoid friendly fire, keep an eye on. Okay. Right.
I took care of this one.
Right, I actually don't want to move. I want to do number 2. So I'm going to go activate shift and 1. And then I go 2.
Suits my purposes. Shall survive.
What you do, you can shot.
Not my specialty.
Yep, that's exactly... Shit, I didn't mean to do that. But...
Absolutely.
Target's too far.
It has a range on it. It's in range.
Was your biggest mistake.
Alright, that was pretty cool.
Death to non-believers.
You're still robotic-y, dude. Such annoying.
Nothing I can't do.
Okay, we've leveled up.
We can actually loot, and we have leveled up. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
The game does have AoE looting, so if you're in range of any of them that are close enough, it will loot all of them at once. You don't have to go to them individually.
I think it's already just done that. Ooh, I've picked up a weapon that does more damage.
There you go.
But, right, so looking at this, you got pistol shot and then pistol burst.
Yeah, so it says there. So the auto pistol does less damage.
Yeah.
Has the same penetration. Has a higher rate of fire. Has the same range. Has less ammo in it. It has a normal shot and a burst fire mode, whereas the las pistol just has a burst fire mode. And as it said, solid projectile weapons have an increased over penetration. That means you could shoot the guy in the front and hit the guy behind him as well.
Right.
Whereas las weapons don't do that. They're really good against accurate fire. So they're good against people in cover and people who have high dodge.
Right.
So las is precision, and solid projectiles are more about hitting stuff.
Right.
A lot of things through other things. So, pardon me. The axe penetrates more armor. You can use an attack that makes them bleed. That's its special.
Yeah.
The sword does more damage, less armor pen, but you also get 10% to parry and a -10 to the enemy's weapon skill when you hit them with it.
So basically, it's just a lighter weapon.
It's easier to be sort of defensive with it. It's a better dueling weapon, as it were.
Okay, I'll put that on. I'm actually wondering if I shouldn't just go axe and sword, or is it better to do a pistol?
It gives you the choice. If you're going all in on melee, then yeah, you can do.
I'm going to give that a try.
But you've also got a second set of equipment at the bottom. So you could just put the pistol on that, and then in combat change to the other set if you do find yourself stuck and you need to shoot someone.
Yeah, and I'm actually going to go with the auto pistol. Can this be put anywhere here?
You can't use it because you don't have Medicaid. The
Right.
character I am playing, Abelard, can use Medicaid.
Alright.
Doubt is for the weak.
Now,
So I think I can gain access to the inventory as well. I can do. Wonderful.
Ah, sweet.
Or I can just put on the kit on mine.
Have you got access to the same weapon I've got?
The sword, I've actually got a chainsword.
Right.
So for the purposes of your character, have a look at it, because it'd probably be better if you've got the main equipment. So at the top you've got the tabs of inventory.
Yep.
That's everything. So you can filter down. So it does more damage than the sword normal. It's got more armor pen. It's got a great crit damage, and it has all the other benefits of a normal sword. So it's better than the sword. Also
Right.
looks badass.
Yeah, so I've actually now got the 2 swords. So in theory, that should increase my dodge as well.
No.
They don't stack.
No, it gives you parry. Or parry. So you have it.
Yeah, so both of them will give me a total of a plus 20 to parry.
You look over.
Right. Hold on. You've gone very robotic, but you said look over to the left, I think you said.
Yeah, there's 2 cross swords, 7%.
Right. I can't understand. I can't hear you properly, but I can pick up what you're saying. That's to parry.
Yeah. So,
It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Doesn't matter. So, strike, strike, cleave, cleave.
So yeah, looking at it, it's not stacking the bonus.
Yeah.
By having 2 of them on.
Okay, there we go. Right.
So, do you want to save it here, or do you want to have a look at leveling up?
Let's look at leveling up, and then we'll save it after that.
So you can either go to the character menu or just click on the 3 arrows.
I tried to click on the 3 arrows. There we go.
There you go. So, obviously you're leveling up your warrior class, because that's the one you're in at the moment. So you go round the wheel clockwise as you level up, basically. So at this first point, you're getting a skill bonus. So you can pick a skill to add plus 10 to. Obviously the ones with the thumbs up are the ones it recommends for your class.
Ah, yes. Well, if I go for the Medicare, that means I probably can use the actual...
Let's have a quick look.
I'm going to go with athletics.
Cool. And then you do complete.
Available skill, okay.
Cool, and I'll do my one. Abelard is also a warrior. But he does have the ability to use medical stuff. So could put a point in that. You're already covering athletics.
Yeah.
Carouse is pretty good. I'd probably put it in. The thing is, he doesn't have a high intelligence. But
Yeah, my intelligence is 30.
as is his. So at this point onwards, for the purposes of getting us through, put it in medical. You can retrain them later when we get to the guy that will let me make a custom character. But that's leveling up.
That was pretty straightforward. Now, when you look at the map, you've got that little floaty bar. What is that?
A floaty bar? Where is it?
Yeah, on the map. If you have a look at my map, you'll see this.
That is your camera. Which direction it's pointing.
Right. That's interesting.
You can also move via the map by right-clicking on it when you've got your character highlighted.
Yes. Yes.
But yeah, that is just your view angle of the camera.
I see. So let me go save, upper decks. we go. Save it. Save. Right, game saved. Right, folks, thank you very much for watching. It is 5 to 12 here in the UK. I'll be back again on Tuesday with some more Remnant. And then on Thursday, Jack and I are going to be playing this. If Clinton does decide to show up and we get another character, I'll stick him with that one. But otherwise, or if Damien's got this game and he wants to join, once we get the third character, he can jump on and play. But we'll see how that plays out and if Damien's keen on joining. But otherwise, I'll see you guys back on Tuesday. Alright, have a good evening. Cheers.